Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream as we talk today about who, if anyone, will challenge Manchester City to the title. I am joined today by Billy from Total Screamers, big Aston Villa fan, and Sava from Football Heritage TV, who's been going wild with the content over the last few days. Obviously, it's all going off at Spurs, mate. But, guys, I want to start, first of all, with that absolute shambolic decision there at the end of the game. Billy, mate, have you ever seen a decision as bad as that? Match day one as well.
Believe it or not, I've actually seen a few bad decisions against Man United for myself. But yeah, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? You know, it completely takes the player out. Late to it as well. It's how are the referees not coming to the decision that is a penalty? You even got United fans saying that it's a penalty. I've just had a quick scroll on Twitter. Everyone's saying that it's a penalty, but yet somehow the referees still somehow come to the decision that it's not a clear and obvious error. Oh man, it's fucking ridiculous.
You know what pisses me off? Yeah, is these referees. They always go on about like the sort of association. They always go on about, oh, got to respect the referees and all that, and then they go and drop a decision like that. It was the easiest decision I've ever seen, Sava, mate. It was a fucking piss poor, bro.
Listen, let's be really, really honest. If that had been down the other end, you're telling me that Man United don't get awarded that penalty. I mean, that should have been 2 penalties. He cleaned both of them out. Like, that should have been 2 penalties. Look, it makes a mockery of VAR. You know, when people say, oh, it's not VAR, it's the people that use it. I don't care whether it's VAR, the people that use it. There is no consistency in the rulemaking about anything. If that's not clear and obvious, I have no idea what clear and obvious is anymore then.
Nah, mate, I've always been against VAR, and I think we always end up having a debate about whether it's VAR or whether it's the person, as you kind of just read. But at the end of the day, we've had this now for 6 years, and it's not working for me. Yeah. But listen, you know, some things never change. We'll start off with Man United. I've never really seen Man United this year as real title contenders. The only way I saw them being title contenders was if they got Kane, which obviously they didn't. He's obviously got a Bayern Munich. Sava, let me start with you. United, I mean, they got the win, so fair play to that, but that was not a good performance from them tonight.
No, I'm struggling. It's strange because I feel like Ten Hag's gone in there and done a good job from the point of view that he got them back into Champions League. They got to 2 finals. But I'd be really hard-pressed if you were to say to me, what are Man United as a team? Like, what's their actual philosophy or style? You know, I know what Arsenal is. I know what City is. You know, I even know what Newcastle is. I don't really know. I feel like it's just going to be big players getting them out of trouble all the time, because tonight was, I mean, it's the first game of the season, but yeah, I've watched them in pre-season. I thought they looked bad as well for a lot of the games. I don't see them being anywhere near a title race. Straight away, they do not have what you have in terms of Erling Haaland. And from that, let's be fair, that's a toothless Wolves team that have ripped them open. Yeah. Right. I'm not being rude to Wolves. I think same as last season, lovely football, can't finish their dinner. You come up against a team that's got some goal scorers. If that was Liverpool, Mo Salah and co, that's 5 or 6. They were shockingly exposed, and now I see desperately why they need Amrabat. Desperately, because that was poor. That was really poor.
They were worse, you know, than I actually thought they were going to be. And I completely agree. I think that when you look at the style, I sort of forgave Ten Hag a little bit last year because obviously it's first season and that, and you know, he couldn't get all the players in, and he still had like David De Gea in there and all that kind of stuff. But even tonight, and I know it's only the first game, so it is all caveat that it's only the first game of the season, but even then, I didn't really see much of an improvement from playing out from the back. I thought today we would see Onana really playing out from the back and the defence really getting on the ball. Very rarely really saw that. And I think, again, that comes back to your point of that I don't really see what sort of style they have. And they probably should have lost the game by a few goals tonight. Like you say, Wolves just couldn't finish for shit. Cunha, you know what I mean, had a few chances. I think it was Fabio Silva, I think, at the end as well. Just kept on getting his shots blocked. But listen, Billy, is there anything that you see, any hope for Man United in this sort of title race, mate?
Not from that. No, they just look so average, don't they? Really, I mean, when Rashford's on it, he's fantastic, but when he's not, then he just lets the game pass him by. And a couple of those runs that he kind of went on today, and he's trying to do step overs, or he takes it a little bit too far. His touch wasn't there. United were just bang average today, really, and they managed to get that goal, which I suppose is a sign of a team. It's always a good sign from a team when you can win when you're not at your best. So you've got to take that as something. But yeah, there's no signs at all from that team, that performance today that shows that Man United are going to be anywhere near challenging for the title. And top four, that's got to be their only aim.
I think they're in serious risk of possibly regressing from last year. What did they finish third? Yes, last year. You look at, obviously City and Arsenal probably going to finish. Well, they will finish in the top three. Maybe Liverpool. You know what I mean? Who not? But they look really shit tonight. And obviously they don't have the new striker. Maybe he'll come in and make a difference. But that wasn't really what I was looking at that was the problem. It was the midfield. It was the playing out from the back. I really thought tonight we was going to get a blueprint for how Man United were going to play. And maybe you come to the end of the game and you say, right, they created a lot of chances, but Højlund wasn't there to finish all the chances. Maybe. But it wasn't even that. They just looked super, super poor. And yeah, I think there's a lot to do there. A lot to do. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream if you've not done so already. Over 100 people in the stream already. Let's get those likes past 50 people. So make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel as well, and go check out Billy on Total Screamers and Sava Football Heritage TV. But Billy, mate, we are going to have to speak about... Well, technically, we speak about Newcastle. We have to speak about Newcastle, but it's your team that took an almighty beating. Obviously, we've been building it up as a massive, massive game. I thought it was going to be super close. And your lads got absolutely turned over by Newcastle. And that sent some shockwaves around this country, I think, with that performance that they put in. What did you make of it? Obviously, from a Villa point of view, it wasn't great.
No, from a Villa point of view, it was far from great. It was a massive kick in the teeth and probably a bit of a reality check as well. It just shows, I think, as well, Newcastle aren't going anywhere. They're still a top quality team. Saying that, I think we created a few good chances. Ollie Watkins at 2-2, Moussa Diaby slotting the ball into him, blazing it wide. Matty Cash at 3-1 even. Open goal. That lands to anyone else on the pitch and they're finishing it. As a professional footballer, you've got to be scoring that. And, those two goals go in, either one of them, and it might be a different game. I think the Mings injury, from a Villa perspective, knocked the stuffing out of us as well. I mean, it did me watching it at home. I dread to think what it did with the players on the pitch. That's two massive injuries for us in Buendia and Mings in the space of 4 days. It's just horrific, and wishing both of them obviously speedy recoveries. And Pau Torres coming in at the deep end, throwing him in at the deep end in that cauldron that is St James's Park. Newcastle found an opportunity, several opportunities, and took them. So fair play to them. I think, they're a quality team, and they just showed that again on Saturday evening, didn't they?
No, they are. Savage, do you think maybe there's been some disrespect on Newcastle? Because, including myself, I didn't think Newcastle was going to potentially get top four, but their midfield looks so powerful, so strong. They look good, didn't they?
Yeah, I think one thing that you can say is they haven't done loads to their team, but do you know what? Sometimes that can be a bit of a blessing, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it. And I think what happened when Newcastle got their new owners, I think everyone thought they were going to go out and just kind of do like when Man City, when you first got your money and it was players like Robinho, that kind of star-studded level. To be fair to Newcastle, they've not done that. They've gone and got solid players, the likes of Botman, the likes of Dan Burn. Who would have thought Dan Burn would have done it? But on top of that, what they've got is a fantastic coach that has really upskilled people like Almiron and like Joe Linton. I mean, I've never seen a transformation in 1 year like I have with Joe Linton, and the power between him, Tonali, and Bruno Guimaraes in that midfield. Harvey Barnes, for me, is an upgrade on St. Maximin because I think he's got output. He's not as pleasing on the eye. He's not gonna have the crowd going ooh and ah, but he will run in behind and do what he did the other night and score goals. Almiron scores. You know, Isak, Wilson, they just look a solid team. The big test for Newcastle, I've said this all summer, LB, the big test for Newcastle, the same as the big test for Villa and for Brighton, is going to be all three of those clubs haven't had European football for a very long time. So it's going to be, how deep do they go in it? How do they start coping with Sunday, Thursday, that whole conundrum? But look, I was shocked. I've actually been bigging up Villa all window. I think Villa have done some really good business. And then, when I saw the score was 5-1, I went back and I watched all the highlights because I was out, and it was like, wow, they've slapped them. And look, I don't know who Villa have got next, but you guys really need to get that out your system.
Everton at home, so it's a perfect opportunity.
Oh, it's superb. Yeah. That's I'm going to put my mortgage on that. Yeah.
For us now, and like I said it on Saturday as well, just after the game. It's all about how we bounce back now. You know, that 190 minutes isn't going to define our whole season. The other 37 games coming up are, and that's what we've got to focus on now. I think that 5-1 performance can happen to anyone, bar Man City, probably. Bar Man City, Liverpool, and maybe Arsenal. You know, when the going gets tough, Newcastle find an opportunity, several opportunities, and they take them with the likes of Isak, the likes of Wilson, Barnes, Almiron, like the players that you've just mentioned, Sava. They've got players there that can score goals, and they take their opportunities well. And that's one thing that Villa don't really have at the minute. You know, like I mentioned, that Ollie Watkins opportunity, he's not quite there yet as a top level striker because of the chances that he misses. And
I think, Billy, I think the test of this Newcastle team is going to be, I think they've got a really good 11. I think the test is going to be, if they get 2 or 3 injuries to main players, plus playing in the Champions League, then we'll see. But let's be fair, I never thought they were just going to drop off from a cliff from last year.
No,
Eddie Howe is a fantastic coach, wherever he's been. And the job he did at Bournemouth, from one day away from going into the conference all the way through to the Premier League, that man should be getting respect everywhere he goes. And he's done a great job. And I think, Villa, you guys will be fine. You'll iron out your problems. I think Diaby's a class act.
Yeah, he's quality.
And do you think you'll dip into the market then for another centre-back? Do you think you'll go in again?
I think I would like us to. Mainly because, you know, we're a couple of injuries, one injury probably away from having to use Callum Chambers, and he's not really the player that we need.
Do you think they'll look at Laporte, Billy? Because we've got Laporte, who's obviously like a world-class defender on his day, and like no one seems to want him.
Yeah,
like
he's been a name that I've seen thrown about, whether that's just people saying he's there and available kind of thing, but I mean, talk about an upgrade. That'd just be quality, wouldn't it? I mean, I love Laporte. I think he's a fantastic player. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised that he's not playing as much as what I thought he would be at City. But yeah, I mean, if he's there and available for how much would he be? 30, 40 million or so?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. I don't see why Spurs, teams like that, I don't know why he's just sitting there. He's a quality player.
Fans have been scratching our heads about this for the last couple of months. Like, why is no one going in from it? It is bizarre. But just quickly on Newcastle before we move on, I think Sava, something that you said before was very true, and it's about the squad depth. And I think a real problem for Newcastle was not winning that cup against Man United last summer, because they are desperate for a trophy, you know. And if they would have won that trophy against Man United, I feel like they could have maybe relaxed a little bit in the domestic cups and just solely focused on the league and the Champions League. But I don't think they can do that, because they're so desperate for some silverware that are they going to spread themselves too thin? I mean, you look at that midfield three of Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton. It's fantastic. You know, you take some of them players off and there is a little bit of a drop off there. And like you said, if there is a few injuries.
Well, I'm just looking at the Newcastle bench now. So, like, you know, the 11 I thought was really good. But then if you look at Anderson, Dubravka, Lascelles, Murphy, Target, Longstaff, don't get me wrong, some players that I thought performed above their station last year. I think when you start playing in the Champions League, you start coming
yeah.
up against some better teams. But look, I think it's a journey for them. I think they're doing it right. You know, I think the worst thing Newcastle could have done this summer would have been to go out, buy 6 or 7 new starters for the team, and come away from the 11 that has done them so well. Drip feeding Tonali in is a no-brainer. Barnes over at St. Maxima for me is a no-brainer. Livramento as backup to Trippier is a no-brainer. So I think it'll be a good season for them. I just think, how patient will their fans be? You know, they've been, let's be really honest, I don't want to be horrible if there's any Newcastle fans. They've been irrelevant for a very long time. If they keep their feet on the ground, just use this as another year to kick on. Get that top 4 again. Even 5th, like with all the new rules, they could get Champions League. Get 5th, get 4th, go again. I think that's what they've got to do. But fans now of every club are getting really impatient. Every fan base think their team should be winning it all. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Newcastle.
With Newcastle, and obviously I've had done shows with Pete from Loaded Mag, and I've said to him, I said, what Newcastle is, they're so rich, right, that they will at some point in the next 10 years win the Prem or win a trophy. Like, they're going to win it because they've got the money, you know what I mean? And whilst money doesn't buy you trophies, like, it does appear that they are doing it in the right way and that they know how to, you know, they're not just going out spending and getting shit players in. Look at the acquisitions they're getting in, being smart, like Harvey Barnes and that. So, like I said to him, I think that just be patient. You will win it eventually. You just don't want to rush it. If you start rushing it, that's when you start making mistakes. If you look at United, for example, since Ferguson left, you can see that they've rushed it many times. No plan. Stick to the plan. It's not going to be an upward trajectory every year. You might have a bit of a down year and, you know, and all that kind of shit. But if you stick to the plan and the plan is right, you will succeed in the end. But yeah, fantastic win for Newcastle. But let's move it on. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes. Make sure you check out Football Heritage TV and Total Screamers as well. Make sure you subscribe to everyone. Let's I'll come to Arteta later on. So let's come to Liverpool, actually, because Liverpool are a weird one, aren't they? They went and got McAllister early on in the window, got a great price. And then they signed that Zobo, or they call him Zobo. And then they've been messed around on this DM situation, looking at Lavia, didn't get him. Looked at Caicedo, got a bid accepted. He's potentially rejected them. Now they've gone back in for Lavia. I mean, where are you at with this Sava, mate? Because for me, I just think that they don't really look too serious. And again, talking about plans, do they look like a team potentially without a plan?
It's really strange because if you look at their plan was brilliant. When they had the team that Klopp took over, to the plan and the team and the squad that they built to go and win the league and the Champions League and the Cups, you would say great planning. It feels like since then, what's happened to that plan? Because at the beginning of the season, when they got Soboslai, I think that's it, and McAllister, I think everyone was thinking, oh, they're going to kick on. They're gonna really kick on here. And I mean, you said like they've been unlucky with these 2 DM positions. I think they've just dilly-dallied. I think they've really dragged their feet. If you've got 110 million that you can whack down on one midfielder, why on earth have they waited until the season has started to go and do it? Because I watched their game yesterday with Chelsea, and I think it was very clear both teams really needed a rock in midfield. And Chelsea have gone out today and bought 2 of them. Right? Chelsea have gone and got both of them today. Liverpool, I don't know who they get. I don't know who they get to do that, because that's now Caicedo gone, Lavia gone. Even Tyler Adams, who would have probably done a decent job, has just gone to Bournemouth. To Bournemouth. I don't know where they go, and I don't know where they go, guys. I really don't know what they do, but that midfield will get ripped open game after game after game at the moment.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I spoke about this before. In fact, let me see if I can bring this up on screen. It's the best DMs in the world, and you can, because obviously you're saying who can they get? Well, you're not going to get Rodri, you're not going to get Casemiro, Joshua Kimmich. Now there has been a few rumours that potentially, does Tuchel and him get on or whatever? Could they test the waters there? They don't really see it, but they might want to try it. Can't get Rice. Tchouameni's been another name recently.
Maybe a loan for Tchouameni. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You hit Caicedo, Tonali, Partey, Kante now gone Saudi, Anguissa, Busquets.
Now,
Like there aren't.
Anguissa. Sambo Anguissa is a very underrated player, but they've got to do something, right? Because for me, I don't know what Billy thinks, but I think they still need two because they've lost Keita, Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Henderson, and Fabinho all in one window, and so far brought two in. Like that's a huge overhaul.
When you think that was their troubled position last season as well, it's major alarm bells must be going off. And the one thing that I don't really understand is, we all thought that Liverpool were going to kick on because of the quick deals they did with McAllister and Szoboszlai. I don't think, that they got those players in and unexpectedly lost Fabinho and Henderson like that to Saudi. Saudi kicked off, Fabinho and Henderson gone like that. All of a sudden, you've got that money. Why are you fannying about with it? Why are you messing around with an extra couple of million for Lavia? If you've got 110 to put down on Caicedo, like you said, why are you waiting until the beginning of the season to do that? Get them in, get them ready, get them a couple of days in pre-season or whatever to used to the surroundings at least, and just get them in. Early business is better business, is it not? Or in my opinion, it is.
No, I agree, but I get the whole Saudi thing, yeah. But could the club have not have said you can't go until we've secured a player? You know what I mean? You can't just let players leave and then go right now. We'll go in. You know what I mean? There's the DM position at the moment. There's not that many good DMs around. We're just showing it on screen. The top 10, and probably 7 or 8 of them are unattainable for Liverpool. So. I get that Henderson's 33, and I get that Fabinho didn't have a great season last year, but it's a hell of a lot better than having no players. And now they're just where did he go from here? Do you know, they have Dilly-Dally.
Can I chuck a name? Can I chuck a name in that might be, listen, I don't know if the two clubs will do business, and I don't know, I mean, it's a player from your lot, LB. I just think almost for a year, what they could do with is a Calvin Phillips. A bit of a workhorse in there that will do the dirty stuff. Now, he might not be the glamorous name that they want, but you've got a guy who was very good for years for Leeds in that DM position. Completely, no effect. He's completely wasted at City, sitting on a bench. He is. If we call it for what it is, his career's going nowhere, sitting there. And Liverpool are desperate. Liverpool are absolutely desperate for me.
Do you think the City would sell him? Because as you just said, Liverpool, City are looking at that, Sava, going, we just look at Liverpool playing against Chelsea. They don't look like title contenders to me, which is good for City, obviously.
Sure.
We sell them, Phillips, even if we get a great price. Let's say City get our money back, right? Which would be miraculous given the fact that he's hardly played football for us. Is that good? We've seen what happened with Arsenal. They could have won the league for us selling them players. I hear the shout, by the way. Completely hear the shout. I don't know.
Yeah, it probably doesn't make sense for the two clubs. I'm just looking at it, thinking to myself, where do you go for these DMs? Everyone, look, let's be really honest. If there were loads and loads and loads of good DMs available, then no offense, but players like Caicedo are not going for 115 million, and a player who's played 29 first-team games of football in his career, Lavia, is not going for 60. Right? Let's call it for what it is. 60 million for a bloke who's played 29 games. That shows you the state of the market.
Mm-hmm.
That shows you that, like Brighton, especially, Brighton know what they got. Southampton knew what they got. You want him, you come and pay us loads of money. But do you know what Liverpool should just do? Whoever this bloke is that Brighton are buying to replace Caicedo, you just know he's going to be good. You know what I mean? Just go in and outbid and sell him in 2 years for 100 million. It's just mad.
Just skip it. Nah, it is wild. But you know what? In a funny way, when Liverpool negotiated with Southampton and Southampton said 60 million, whilst Liverpool would have laughed at that and gone, absolutely no way, that in itself should have raised alarm bells for Liverpool, because they should be going, hang on a minute, how can Southampton, who are in the Championship, by the way, you know what I mean, these teams are normally sort of desperate for cash, how are they sitting there with chests saying we're not selling him for 60 million? That in itself should ring alarm bells, because they should be sitting down with each other in the board meetings and going, we've got a serious problem here. You know what I mean? Lavia or Caicedo, which is double the price. And by the way, he looks like a fantastic player, but he's also relatively inexperienced as well. He's only had, 18 months in the league. Like, that is a serious problem. So I don't know where Liverpool go from here. I think they're in a serious mess. Did they try and get Phillips? Did they go and get Tchouaméni? Did they try and get Kimmich out of there? Ironically, the next player on that list, I just scrolling through who they potentially could have was Fabinho. he was number 12 on the list, but. Listen, was anyone impressed? Sorry, Billy, go on. What you say, bro?
I don't know. Just another name that's come to me. Just someone like, obviously not attainable now because he's gone to West Ham, but James Ward-Prowse. Like you say, Sava, someone who's going to do the dirty work. You know, he's not going to stop running. He's probably not that number 6, that solid rock that you need, but he is a player that will do that dirty work as well. And he's got as well. You know, there's... Like we've mentioned, there's no one really else out there for them to.
Do you think they come in maybe for someone like Douglas Luiz from you lot?
They can do, but we know that they're in a desperate situation. We value him as a top player anyway, and I think it just highlights how the quality business that Villa have done to have Douglas Luiz, Boubacar Kamara, and Tielemans for a total of 15 million, which all was spent on Douglas Luiz. You know, it's you know, from that perspective, I think as a Villa fan, I look back and Jesus Christ, how manage this?
Well, the thing is as well, Billy, if Liverpool did go in for Douglas Luiz, Villa know that Liverpool have 110 million because that's what they bid for Caicedo.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what
they've completely outed themselves as we've got all this money.
They've just played this so badly. They've played it so badly. You've got to keep your cards to your chest, and they've just gone full out, all in. Now everyone's seen the hand. I just don't know where they go from here.
They can't do what they did yesterday. The whole, I mean, they played two mid. Listen, I'm all for attacking football, right? I'm all for attacking football, but you cannot go into a season without a single defensive midfielder.
No,
I agree. They had what, McAllister and Szoboszlai, and then like 4 forwards. You listen, you can do that if you want to entertain. They'll be fun to watch. But at the end of the day, Liverpool Football Club should be in the business of winning titles, winning cups. And I can't see, at the moment, at the beginning of the summer, I thought they'd do all this and I thought they'd finish second. At the moment, I know there's 17 days of the window to go, but I'm not, I don't know. There's something not right at Liverpool at the moment.
Let me tell you something before we move on. If Liverpool played that 2 in midfield against City, I think we'd have a field day. I really do. I really do.
Newcastle, anyone with a strong midfield,
True.
They get annihilated. No matter how good their attackers are, you can't play with 2 number 8s against a real good strong midfield. It just gets walked over.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Let's move it on to their opponents then. Chelsea, obviously, big spenders. The FFP rules are being changed again because of what they're doing. But hey, they got a loophole. Got some top players in there, of course. Reece James obviously went off with an injury. Levi Colwill got a start as well. Billy, did you see title contenders from Chelsea yesterday? Or a little bit of a stretch?
I think that's a little bit of a stretch. I don't think they're going to be title contenders, even with Caicedo and Lavia coming in. I just think everything's still a little bit all up in the air. Don't get me wrong, could be proven wrong, and they could go on have a very decent season if they're going to be title challengers. But no, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't.
Yeah, I thought there was lacking creativity, to be honest with you. I thought they were moving the ball around quite well, you know what I mean, quite quick. But as soon as they got the ball, I thought I do like Chukwuemeka. I seen him obviously when he was at Villa, but he didn't really look like he was creating anything. I did think that they missed sort of a creative player. I don't think Enzo Fernandez is that guy who's going to create a lot either. Like you said, they're signing Lavia and Caicedo. And no, Caicedo can play further forward, but I really think that they're missing that sort of Kevin De Bruyne, Lucas Paqueta, Foden, that real creative, even a Maddison, to be honest with you. There's someone like who can create something.
Just a number 10.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Sava, what did you make of it?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think when people are talking about the title for Chelsea, I think it's a season too soon. I think you got to remember there's been so much upheaval at that club. They showed today that Todd Bowley's bought 24 footballers since he's been at Chelsea, and he's only been at Chelsea for about 13 or 14 months. So 3 windows, 24 players. How many have been sold? I think it's something like 16 all in all across those windows. That's a 40-player swing. I think to have that sort of commotion, new managers all over the shop, new manager now coming in. I think I was having this debate with Lee Gunner earlier. He said, no, with all that money spent, they should be winning a league. And I just said, look, sometimes you've got to just let the dust settle a little bit. Let's get some calm inside the building. Poch will get a very settled 11. I've seen him do this at Spurs. The difference between what he's doing now and at Spurs was took him a year or two to get rid of all our deadwood. He's just done it all in one window, right? So he's got rid of the deadwood. He's created. You could already see their football was so much better than what they played last season.
It was good.
Nkunku would have been a huge miss because you think they bought him in, or they agreed that deal in what November, December last year. So they would have been waiting for him all year, and then he's injured. Look, I like Jackson. I think he looks an interesting player. I saw better bits from Mudryk in pre-season and yesterday. I think like Poch will get the best out of him. I do think they need a couple more sources of goals. And the worrying thing for all of us, right, is that in the next week or so, Chelsea could just go out and go boom, boom. So, look, I think they will get in the top 4 or 5. I really do. I think playing once a week, no one's going to want to play against a midfield 3 of Enzo, Caicedo, and Lavia. The back 4 looks solid enough, even if they have got injuries there. I think they'll be fine this year. I think they're going to be a good team.
Yeah. No, I back that. I actually was really impressed. Out of like all the teams, maybe obviously other than Newcastle sort of slamming 5 past Villa, which was a shock.
Thanks for reminding me again.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was probably the most surprised in a positive way with Chelsea. The way that they moved the ball was really good. And yeah, the only thing that I thought they really lacked was a creative player. But as you said, there's still 17 days of the transfer window left. Maybe you might see Mudryk be moved in that sort of position. I think Mudryk, he has everything you're sort of looking for when you're looking for that sort of spark. I just think that he just needs someone to sort of tame him a little bit and sort of get him a little bit more. He sort of looks a little bit too erratic for me, but
I think he's very.
I think we had that with Sonny. We had that with Sonny when he first joined Tottenham, guys, and then Poch sorted him out. I think he'll do the same. I hate this saying, forgive me, but I do think there is a really good, talented footballer in there. You can see it. Whenever he does something good, you can see immediately then he's like that. He's excited again. But will he be given the time? Because we know that those Chelsea fans are used to success every year. So will they give him time? I don't know.
I think as well with Mudryk, it's a little bit of decision making as well. He needs to start making more right decisions. You know, a couple of shots here and there where the better option would have been to pass and vice versa.
Well, do you think he should have shot on that? Because he had a chance in the 92nd minute and he went through on goal and he took it round Alisson. And I thought he should have tried to dink him.
That's what I mean. That kind of thing, like back yourself in that situation rather than trying to bail yourself out with your pace and get round him. And then you've got a tight angle shot. No, I agree with you. I think he should have backed himself to kind of take that shot on. That's the kind of things that I'm talking about. Yeah.
Do you see him finishing in the top 4, Billy?
After that performance yesterday, I don't see why they can't finish in the top 4. When you think that they're going to have that Caicedo and the Lavia deals done, and they're going to have that rock of a defensive midfielder, I don't see why they can't.
Yeah,
once a week as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Well, that's the
gonna be
thing with that.
beautiful.
Obviously, we've seen so many teams. Obviously, Leicester was the best example of that. You know, if you can get it going, then if you're only playing once a week, you can be a real force. Listen, let's move it on to Arsenal before we finish off with City. They obviously got a win against Forest. Wasn't very convincing, though, to be honest with you. 2-1. Forest getting a late goal, but then just didn't really capitalise on the goal, really, which was a bit of a shame. Massive blow, though, for Arsenal. You see Arsenal fans crying about this, and it is a real shame from a footballing point of view. Jurriën Timber going off with a knee injury. In fact, I think Dan texted me today and said he reckons it might be an ACL or some sort of ligament injury. So I'm not sure whether that is true or not, but that is going to be a big blow for him, Sava, because he's up the good.
Yeah, look, and I think the point to this was, and we've talked about this a lot when we've been on Saeed's channel, LB, is for me the difference between Liverpool and Man City is squad, right? And you know, when they're adding Timber, part of that is to build a squad, right? You're trying to add some depth. If you then lose him, you're back to what? I mean, you said they're about to Chambers, Billy. They're back to Rob Holding. So it's difficult. Obviously, you can't just have endless players in case like everyone gets injured. But it will be a big blow for them. I still think they're short. I really do think they're short. I don't think they've got what City have got on so many levels. But we'll see. I wasn't completely convinced by them at the weekend. But again, it's so difficult, isn't it? First game of the season, no one's match fit. No one's. You can't have form going into a season. You know what I mean? You can't be in form. But listen, I think they'll be right up there. I just do think they'll fall short again. I don't think they're anywhere near Man City. I didn't think they were last year. I just think that, to be honest, I think Pep really pissed about with making all these silly changes in the first half of the season. And almost when he went back to his tried and tested, I think you like 27 games unbeaten or something. So yeah, I don't think there's any issue.
The depth is you're spot on with the depth. I mean, you have to look at it. Obviously, Jesus out, starts Nketiah. You know what I mean? And he didn't actually have a bad game, to be fair to the guy. You know what I mean? But is he at the level of where you need to be when you're looking for titles? You know, I just don't think so. Billy, what do you make of Arsenal this year? Do you think they've done enough? Do you think they've actually improved the squad? Because there is actually a bit of a debate going around. And I know I think Lee. I don't know if he's changed his mind on this, but the last time I spoke to Lee, he was even saying that he thinks that the squad as a whole, as a package, has actually got weaker. What do you make of this, Billy?
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from when he says that, because obviously you're bringing in Declan Rice and you're losing Granit Xhaka. You want to keep him and build a squad, don't you? So I mean, Declan Rice is a fantastic talent, obviously, but they've got the Champions League now to compete with as well.
Yeah.
You need that squad. And I mean, the season Xhaka had last season, he was a quality player for them. And so to let him go is questionable. And so I can see where they're coming from. And like you just mentioned Nketiah there, I mean, if he was to go to Crystal Palace, would it surprise you? He's not a top level. Yeah. He's not a top level striker. You know, they still need that goal scorer. And you know, you've got Balogun there who's going for around 50 million or so, it's believed. Why not give him a chance? Why not give him a run out? I don't know if I've seen a couple of Arsenal fans say goodbye to him, like they're not overly keen on him. But, you know, if he's already there, he's free. He could, if you give him that opportunity, you know, he could take it and prove to be the goal scorer.
Yeah, I just think Arteta's just sticking with Nketiah though at the moment. I agree with that. I think that maybe he should change it up. You know what I mean? Because I think for me,
just give him a go.
Yeah, just give him a go. But I just don't think that's what the way you're looking to move. And talking about squad depth again and the Champions League, we bring this up on screen. I don't know how well this will come up, but this is Arsenal players last year in the Europa League sorted by minutes. You know, you got Fabio Vieira at number 1, Rob Holding, Xhaka, Nketiah, Gabriel, Martinelli, Tierney, Lokonga, Matt Turner, and Tomiyasu. That's the top 10. They're the most played Arsenal players by minutes. So You know, there's what, 3 players there? You got Gabriel who might play. Gabriel Martinelli will definitely play. Is that it? Is there anyone else that's going to play?
See, this is the thing. So if they won't be able to do that in the Champions League, they won't be able to do that.
Yeah.
I think Billy makes a great point that the difficulty is as good as Declan Rice as a player is, it's 1 in, 1 out, right? So again, if Declan Rice was to get injured, you're going back to Jorginho, who's listen, Jorginho's been a good professional, good player, but he's not the same sort of player at all. It's him or El Neni. Then you look at Havertz. Is he is he an upgrade on anything they had? For me, I think that you're just taking away minutes from Trossard by playing Havertz. And then at the back, Jurrien Timber's injured. So I'm going to ask the question right now, where are Arsenal stronger than last year? Don't get me wrong, Rice is better than Xhaka, right? So they are stronger per se in the midfield area. Yeah. But you get my point. Are they stronger as a club to go and challenge for a title? Now, listen, this might blow up in my face. They might go on and win it. But you've got to be a really good 11 to go all through the season in the Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup and League to win it. And this is
very lucky not to get injuries as well.
Yeah, and straight away they've already had one major one, right? Yeah. Straight away they've had a major one. And this is the difference. This is what I keep saying this, and everyone says I love Pep. It's not about loving him. He is the master of knowing when to rotate players. It's not about City having 30, 40 brilliant players. He'll have his 11 in his mind that he knows is his best. But the 6 or 7 behind them, he all trusts to throw in. Yeah, and they all fit in seamlessly. The 7 or 8 behind Arsenal, I like Trossard. But then you're going into what? What are you going into? Holding, El Neni, and Ketia.
Yeah.
It's
Fabio
not
Vieira.
It doesn't scream we're going to get you over the line in a title race. And so, look, I know they'll just say I'm a salty Spurs fan. I'm not at all. I think they punched above their weight last year. But considering you've gone and spent £200 million, I don't think they're stronger. That's madness.
But this is why when I speak about Havertz, you know, I actually thought he'd done all right against City in the Community Shield. Didn't really think he played too good against Nottingham Forest, but then I don't think Arsenal as a team played very well against Forest. For me, the reason why I don't get the Havertz thing is because it's just unnecessary. You know what I mean? It's a gamble that I didn't think that Arteta needed to take. And I actually think that by the end of the season, if this doesn't go well, it could be Arteta's downfall. Because if you just said, Savard, they spent 65 million quid on him. Now, if this is only going to go one way or the other, it's going to be a binary outcome. He's either going to look back at the end of the year and everyone's going to go, fucking hell, how did Arteta know that Havertz was going to be class? Or everyone's going to be looking at it going, why did he spend 65 million pound on a Chelsea flop when he could have spent that 65 million pound on another midfielder, a proper sort of cover player? Maybe they could have got another sort of attacking player or got some more defensive player. Yeah, you know, they're looking at the Raya guy. I get it, but was it necessary? Some people might say, yeah, it was necessary. I didn't think it was a necessary signing. Spent 25, 30 million on him. I just think they spent the money in a weird way. And like Sav, I'm going to say the same thing. I'm not saying that they won't go on and win. I still think City will. They've got a chance. Obviously,
I'll say it right now. LB. They're not winning that league. I'll say it right now. Nah, listen, I said it when they were 11 points clear last year. They won't win the league. I've got no problem saying it right now when they're not. They are.
No, I don't think they will either.
That league.
I don't think they will either. But I guess they've got a team that could win it. But I don't think they've got the squad that couldn't win it, and that's the issue. And I think they've spent the money in a poor way. They didn't.
Even then, when I look at your 11, I look at theirs. How many Arsenal players would I take? Not many. So. Look, it is what it is. I just think it's madness nowadays that you can have a transfer window where you spend 200 million and you're looking on paper going, how are your backups still Fabio Vieira, Rob Holding? It's just mental, right?
I know.
For me, what I think they should have done was I think they should have been smarter. I think they should have gone out and bought 6 or 7 £30 million players. And really they were all happy to rotate, beefed it up completely.
Should they have got Tillman on a free? Would you took him as a backup squad rotation player? I mean,
sure.
I'm not a massive fan of his, but, you know, as a squad rotation, come in and do 20 minutes here, start the Carabao Cup games, maybe start a couple of home games.
He is. I mean, from what I've seen of him so far in pre-season, I can't take much of him from the game at the weekend, obviously. But what I saw in pre-season, he's fantastic. He really, really is. And to be a backup player, you know, rotate that midfield with Rice and Partey, he'd have been phenomenal for them. He really would have been.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you on that one, Savva, mate. I think they've made an error.
I do. Unless, as you said, if we get to the end of the season, Havertz has got 19 league goals and 15 assists.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Turns into prime.
Well, that's what it is. They've gone to the
yeah.
haven't they? And if they've thrown it all on red or black, and that is Havertz there, and that's now what we're waiting for. And I just don't think Arteta needed to put that pressure on him. So
65 million for him. We got Maddison for 40. I know which one I'd rather have in my team. So, you know what I mean?
I think you ask most Arsenal fans, and I think they know which one they'd rather have as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Listen, I want to finish it off on Manchester City. Obviously, we got it. The league kicked off on Friday night. Wasn't too sure how we was going to play. Obviously, first game, as we've said, could always be rusty. But Billy, mate, I can't lie. I thought we looked really, really strong. I thought we carried on from where we left off, and obviously, we are treble winners, so it's kind of obvious to say. But I thought, out of everyone so far that I've seen, sort of as a title contenders, I think we have looked probably the best team on match day one. What have you made of us?
Yeah, it was a Man City performance, wasn't it? It's not necessarily a Man City performance in August traditionally, because normally I think you tend to start slow and build up into an unstoppable machine. But yeah, starting from where you left off, you know, Haaland scoring his goals. Was it his first touch? I think he scored with.
Possibly, yeah. It was after 3 minutes.
Yeah,
it probably was.
Exactly. You know, 2 goals already. He's a machine. The squad's a machine. You're just gonna carry on. And I mean, at this rate, wouldn't surprise me if you went invincible.
Oh, Jesus, don't say that. Arsenal fans will not like you if you say that's the only thing that they've got at the moment. You know what? It's funny. I was on a stream the other day, and I can't remember if it was a Saeed stream or I was on with Dan on the 12th man. But someone said to me, LB, do you think Haaland's going to score as many goals as he did last season? And I said, no, he's not going to score 50 goals because that was a freak season. There's no chance. He'll have a good season, no doubt, but he won't get 50. And then in the first game, he scored 2 goals. He scored, like you said, with his first touch after 3 minutes. I'm sitting here thinking, surely he can't score 50 goals again. Surely not. But listen, with the creative players that we've got in the team, obviously it is a bit of, well, no, it's not a bit of a blow. It's a major blow that Kevin De Bruyne's hamstring's gone again. We don't know the full extent of that. We'll find out, I guess, in the next couple of days. Apparently he's had a scan today, but we're looking at replacing him with Lucas Paqueta. And if that goes through, I'm super excited because he likes putting the ball in behind defenses quick. And I think that'd be perfect for Haaland. But Savile, what did you make of City on Friday night, mate?
Do you know what? I just thought City literally didn't even get out of first gear and won at a canter. You couldn't ask for a better game. Listen, I like Burnley. I hats off to Company. He's turned Burnley from being a 4-4-2, 2 wide men whipping into big men like Ashley Barnes and who was the other one?
Chris Wood.
Chris Wood, yeah, there you go. Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood. To being a nice passing team. They're going to find out very quickly that's all well and good, but you've got to have some product. You've got to be able to finish off your moves. Look, City, I didn't think City were amazing. They didn't need to be. Get it done. 3-0. Haaland does what Haaland does, and City will continue in that vein. So, I think, De Bruyne being out, I think you're going to get used to that more and more. I think he's had, from what I remember, you'll tell me, you're a City fan, the last couple of years, it feels like he's constantly getting these little niggles now.
Does, yeah.
And this is where you're going to see Grealish, Foden, you know, if you get in, I don't know, an Elise or Doku and Paqueta, and listen, you'll be fine. And you guys haven't really, I know you bought Vardy, Kovacic, but you've not flexed your muscles. You've not done a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know you spent 100 million on those 2, but compared to the teams around you, you've really not flexed any muscle. So,
well, I mean, if you look at our net spend over the last 5 years, I mean, we're like 11th or 12th or something. So I know we sell a lot of players. So, you know, people will say, "Oh, you still spend money." I'm not saying we don't spend money. I'm just saying, like, in terms of actual, like, just spending cash, we've not spent that much cash. We sell a lot of players as well, so we are quite good at that. Obviously, look at some of the academy players. I mean, rumor has it that we're going to get in total. We're going to get around 30 million quid for Lavia, the 14 million that we sold him for initially, and then another 15, 16 million when this sell-on clause gets in. So he played like 1 or 2 games for us, which is crazy. We're going to get 30 million. James Trafford.
And that's how Chelsea make money.
Yeah.
Look at how many youth products that Chelsea. I don't know if you guys saw the Simon Jordan analysis this morning on TalkSport when he was talking about how Chelsea get away with spending so much money. And it was a real interesting read because I think lots of football fans only think about it like that with blinkers on. But he was saying that you think like from Loftus-Cheek and Mount alone this window, they've made 100 million profit, like pure profit of 2 youth academies. They sold Callum Hudson-Odoi, pure profit, right? You think the last few windows, Lamptey, Tamori, Guehi, Tammy Abraham, when they sell Conor Gallagher, it's just pure profit. Plus, they're selling people like Kai Havertz for £65 million. I mean,
the league's helping them out there, isn't it, with Havertz? What the hell?
Yeah, but I think who have Man City got this weekend?
Newcastle.
At Man City.
Yeah, City. It's 8 p.m. Saturday night. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you can get the win there, I mean, they're a good team, but I think if you can get that win, get off to 6 points, 6 point start, then you're all good.
Yeah, the thing for me is this season, as Billy sort of alluded to earlier, we don't usually do too well in the first sort of stage of the season. We usually come alive sort of after Christmas, after sort of February time, March time, we really sort of come alive. The one reason that I think that we might not get away with that this year is because we've got that Saudi Arabia thing in December. And I just feel that like we're going to miss a few games there and other teams will probably and I know we'll have games in hand, I'm not done, but like coming back and say like we're 15 points or 16 points behind. I know we could still do it because we've done it before, but having played that Club World Cup, I just don't know if basically what I'm saying is just keep it tight by the time we get back from that Club World Cup. But I do think, honestly, from watching the first weekend of football, I think there is a chance that City could walk away with this league, lads. And I know you guys is obviously I know you support teams, but as a sort of neutral sort of in this title race is probably disappointing. But I just don't think clubs have spent well. I don't think Arsenal has spent well. I still think Chelsea need to do more. I think United haven't spent well. And at this moment in time, I don't know what Liverpool are doing. So, Billy, I'll just throw that at you before we end, mate. Is there a serious chance that City could just walk away with this league? I mean, you even mentioned Invincibles before.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't see anyone, particularly from the first week. There's no one that's really made that statement of we're going to be title challengers. Now, if we're talking about making statements, then Newcastle's the only other team really. But like you say, once the season gets going and the Champions League starts rolling, starts going, then the League form may start to drop off a bit, and then they've got to contend with that. So I think you will walk it, to be honest with you. I don't really see anyone that's going to push you all the way. It was Arsenal's opportunity last year, and they just couldn't make it. I like I say, I don't see anyone really competing with you. And I do think that you'll probably walk it 10, 15, 20 points.
Yeah, I don't like saying it, but at the moment, I do think we're going to fucking walk this league, lads. I really do, man.
It's funny you say that. I've got Sky Sports on in the background, and I've just seen all of the pundits in the studio's prediction, and Gary Neville's obviously gone for Arsenal to win the league. And I'll be honest with you, I just don't see it. I think the thing is with Man City, and I keep saying this every time we're streaming, it'll be right, is you guys could be really painfully average compared to what you're normally like all the way through to January. And then there's just something that switches, and all of a sudden you're the only team capable in the league of going, right, let's put a 20 game run together. And that's why you watch every time you lose a game this year. If you do, every time you lose a game, the same old people, Pep's lost it. Man City aren't as good as they used to be. This system doesn't work. Haaland's not. Keep all the excuses going. Then Man City just go on this run, and it's just it's just difficult to compete with. It's really difficult to compete with. So I can't see anyone but Man City winning it.
Yeah, I just think the team's full of winners, and I think that's how you get on them mad runs, And I said this before, right? But when we're in a title race, and even if we're behind, I low-key think some of these City players enjoy being behind in the race sometimes, because I feel that they just really enjoy the sort of the race and the hunting down. Whereas you see with Arsenal last year, they didn't like being in front. You know what I mean? They didn't know how to play. They go 2-0 up. They didn't know what to do. They retreated into a shell. I think City thrive. I really do when they're in these title races. And I think that's why we do so well. Big up to Off Meta Professor with the $5 donation. Says, ALB, hope the transition's been a smooth one. All the best for the future. Big up the Blues. Big up to Off Meta Professor with the donation. I appreciate that, man. But yeah, listen, from our point of view, I guess most people in there are probably City fans. It's looking good, man. I didn't see anything from this week that made me super worried. Of course, it is only match day 1. Teams will likely get better. But City carrying on from where we left off. Listen, lads, I want to thank you both for coming on at late notice as well. Big up to Sava, killing it over on Football Heritage TV. I've been watching some of your streams, man. And it's been good, man. It's been good with the Harry Kane news. What are you getting? You got Mickey van der Ven in? Is that a done deal now?
Yeah, Mickey van der Ven played at the weekend. Looked really good. It's like 6'12" or something, and runs really quick. Look, just amazing. We've had such bad centre halves for a long time that Mickey van der Ven comes in one game, and you go, Jan Vertonghen with pace. That type of. I'm not putting him in that level now, but that's the vibe I get. The Doji, good as well. And I'll tell you what, guys, one of the biggest players other than Maddison this year is going to be Ibasuma, who Conte absolutely ruined. Conte making Basuma play defensively.
He got man of the match, did he?
Yeah, and he was man of the match against Barcelona as well. He's a one-man box-to-box machine. So watch out for him having a good season. But we just got to figure out how we're going to do this whole goal scoring thing without who. So we don't mention his name anymore. So
that could take time, though. That could take time. You're speaking about patience before. I think Spurs fans are going to have to be patient with that. Obviously, losing a player who's been one of the best strikers that the game has ever seen, to be honest with you, over the last decade. And so it's not going to be happen overnight. But I'm sure Ange has got a lot of plaudits. I didn't watch the game, but got a couple of mates who watched it and said, there was some good attacking, some good attacking plays. It looks like it's going to be good, but it probably will be a bit of a process. But at least you can move forward with that. Billy, I don't really know what to say to you, mate, because to be honest, a bit of a fucking weird one. No one expected that. I was expecting a close 2-2, 1-0. You guys got thumped, but listen, I think that wipe that one away. I think you guys are going to have a good season, man. And
I agree, to be honest with you. It's like I said earlier, that one game of 90 minutes is not going to define our season. The next 37 will be. It's all about the reaction now against Everton next on Sunday it is. So yeah, fingers crossed we can come away. Unai Emery gives them a massive kick up the arse. And yeah, I just hope they've been forced to sit in that analysis room all day, reflecting on what they did wrong. So yeah, fingers crossed we can come away with the win against Everton. I may start to get a little bit concerned if we don't.
Mate, you'll absolutely smack them up, mate. That's another club that don't know what they're doing at the top.
Stop talking so positively. Aston Villa and positivity do not go together.
I've told you need to get your chest out a little bit more. This is why you got smacked up.
No.
You're going to smack Everton all over the place. They are that. I looked at their 11 at the weekend and went, this is like weak all over, just weak. I think they're going to be. I mean, they were in real trouble last year, right? I think they're going to be in real trouble again. They needed a positive start and then lose at home 1-0 to
Fulham. I think
Fulham. Yeah. Fulham. Yeah, but there was nothing there. There's nothing. I just looked at that team and went, meh.
The fact that they've still not gone out and bought a proper striker who can guarantee them goals, to me, is just an absolute. They're just maintaining that one day DCL will just not be injured and start scoring again, and it may happen, but it's probably not. You know what I mean?
He's always injured, isn't he? Always injured.
They should have got rid. But listen,
I'm going to let you boys do the talking for that one.
You'll batter them at your ground. You boys will be well up for it after you got battered. I honestly, I don't know where they're going to score goals from. So if we do a show next week and you've lost 3-0, then sorry.
Oh dear. Yeah, it's going to be a madness.
Exactly.
Listen, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Massive shout out to the boys again for coming on at late notice. If you have enjoyed it, man, make sure you smash a like on the stream. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. I will be back tomorrow with all the UEFA Super Cup build-up. Of course, the lads have now landed in Greece. Big game on Wednesday night against Seville. So hopefully City get the W and get their hands on another trophy. But guys, other than that, enjoy the rest of your night and I'll see you tomorrow. See you in a bit.